Building bigger biceps could make you appear much stronger and more fit. This is because your biceps are one of the primary muscles that instantly showcase that you do in fact work out. This is why biceps and abs are on the forefront of most guys' minds when they first walk through a gym. But if you're making a few very common mistakes, your biceps are not going to grow, at least not much past that initial newbie gains period. And one of the biggest reasons that you might be stuck with bicep growth is because you're not treating your biceps like other major muscle groups, which causes you to train your biceps differently. The major difference is that you're not overloading your bicep workouts. I've seen way too many people get overly obsessed with things like going slowly on the way down or trying to concentrate on turning their pinkies up during every one of their curls, to the point that they lose sight of the most important things, like progressively upping the weight used for bicep curls. For some reason, the biceps are one of those muscles that many people lump into the same category as abs, where the weight load used doesn't seem to be as important as the amount of weight used for exercises like squats or bench presses, for example. But the weight that you use for your bicep curls can have a direct impact on how big your biceps grow, just like it has a direct impact on your abs, your legs, and other muscles throughout your body. So you absolutely need to focus on increasing the weight load that you're using on your bicep curling exercises. You will have to continually progressively overload your bicep exercises by lifting those heavier and heavier weights if you want your arms to grow. Now, it's easier said than done to just up your weight for bicep curls, but one super simple, extremely effective strategy is to always increase the weight when you're near the top of your rep range. So, as an example, one of my favorite rep ranges for bicep growth and increasing weight load for biceps has always been 6 to 10 reps. When you get to the point where you're able to complete 9 or 10 reps on your first heavy set of bicep curls, that means you need to up the weight to a point that forces you to fail at an earlier point like 6 to 7 reps. And then your goal should be to train with that heavier weight load until you can do it for 9 or 10 reps again. Then repeat this whole process. So every time you come to that upper limit of your rep range, increase the weight, drop your reps, and work those reps back up over the next few weeks. Another thing that helps is mixing up your bicep exercises. A lot of people just do easy access exercises like standing dumbbell curls or standing barbell curls. And even though these are two of the best bicep exercises available, there are many other exercises that overload and challenge your biceps in a different way, and you absolutely should be doing these exercises if you want your biceps to grow. A perfect example is the preacher curl. This exercise is hard, uncomfortable, and requires much less weight to be effective than regular standing bicep curls. But getting stronger at preacher curls will directly translate to boosts in strength on your upright standing curls. And same thing vice versa, getting stronger at standing curls will translate to increases in strength on preacher curls. And like I said in the very beginning, progressively overloading all of these exercises is the #1 foolproof thing that you can do to ensure consistent bicep growth. So make sure you're doing more challenging exercises like preacher curls or incline dumbbell curls. These exercises may require you to lift a lighter weight load than what you can do with the regular standing bicep exercises, but just by applying the same strategy of dropping reps, increasing weight load, building back up your reps, and then repeating, you can translate all that strength to all your other bicep exercises. Aside from strength, you also have to remember that your biceps have two heads, and some exercises emphasize the development of the short head, while other exercises will emphasize the long head. By doing a variety of different exercises over time, you ensure that you build both heads effectively. That brings us actually to another mistake a lot of you are making, and that's not starting your arm workouts with fresh biceps when your goal is to grow your biceps. If you're serious about growing your arms, I recommend you have arm-specific days where you're just focusing on the muscles that make up your arm, which include your shoulders, biceps, and triceps. Since your shoulders are more complex, larger muscles, and since shoulder exercises don't really interfere with your bicep exercises, you can start your arm day workout with shoulder exercises like military presses, bent arm lateral raises, and reverse flies. Even though some of these shoulder exercises, like the overhead presses, will fatigue your triceps, they shouldn't really fatigue your biceps, leaving them fresh even if you want to focus on your shoulder exercises first in your workout. But if you're training your biceps on, let's say, a pull day after already doing a ton of back exercises like barbell rows, deadlifts, and lat pull downs, you're obviously not going to be at your strongest when you finally do start curling. That's going to make it harder to progressively overload your biceps, the #1 thing that you need for growth, which is why I suggest you have an arm-specific day where you can train your biceps while they're still fresh. And while we're on the topic of having an arm specific day, if your biceps aren't growing and you're only training your arms once a week or here and there, you should try training your arms more frequently. In general, you should have at least 2 arm specific days per week if your goal is to get bigger biceps. It's proven in studies that even when total work is matched between groups, training your muscles more often results in more growth. This likely has to do with the fact that protein synthesis levels generally only stay elevated for up to about 72 hours after a workout. So you want to use that to your advantage by training arms at least once every 4 days. That protein synthesis process is what actually leads to muscle repair and muscle growth. So if you're only training your arms once a week, that leaves 4 days of the week where your arms aren't maximally triggered for growth while you rest between your workouts. Training your arms twice a week will allow you to boost protein synthesis rates 2 times every single week rather than just once, and I think it's pretty obvious how that can lead to more bicep growth. Another thing that you should be doing that may be preventing you right now from breaking through a bicep plateau is cheat reps. I know that almost everything you see nowadays is about having perfect form. Make sure your elbows are tight to your ribs, make sure you're not driving those elbows forward by using your shoulders, and also make sure you're not bending backwards doing the limbo to get the weight up. This is all true, but cheat reps and using a little momentum can have its place and can really help you build bigger biceps. Most of your reps should be good, clean form. You shouldn't be flaring those elbows out and you shouldn't be throwing your hips forward on every curl. But you also definitely don't want to just stop the second that things start to get challenging. Just because you can't perform a perfect curl on your 8th rep doesn't mean that you should just stop at 8 reps. That 9th rep with a little bit of cheating can be just as beneficial as having a partner assist you by lightly helping you lift the bar off your chest when you get stuck on the bench press. These forced reps have their benefits, not only in terms of muscle growth, but also squeezing out that 9th rep with a little bit of cheating can potentially help you get stronger and get that rep next time with no cheating. Again, most of your reps should be done with good, clean form, but don't stop as soon as it starts getting tough. Squeeze out 1 or 2 cheat reps when that fatigue really starts to set in, because those last reps play a huge impact on your progress. Next, let's talk about your diet, because if you're not in a calorie surplus or you're not eating enough protein, it's going to make it much more difficult to make your biceps grow, especially if you're currently already stuck and no longer a beginner. Being in a surplus is beneficial because it triggers physiological changes that aid muscle growth. Examples of this include raising testosterone and IGF-1 levels while simultaneously lowering cortisol. These changes to your hormones increase muscle protein synthesis while reducing muscle protein breakdown, which translates to muscle growth. Now, the goal shouldn't be to have as large of a calorie surplus as possible. For example, when men on a small calorie surplus were compared to men eating an extra 600 calories on top of their surplus, it was found that the large surplus group gained 5 times more fat than the small surplus group. So as a general rule of thumb, a small calorie surplus of about 48% above maintenance is a great place to start at if you're trying to stay lean while adding size to your biceps. If you're not gaining any weight on the scale after a few weeks, you can try upping your calories by a small amount, like 100 to 200 calories per day, and then reevaluate your progress from there. As far as protein, nutrient timing is not as big of a deal as just getting enough total protein throughout the day. There are studies that attribute a greater muscle building benefit to spreading your protein intake more evenly throughout the day between 3 or 4 meals instead of having all that protein at once or even divided between 2 meals. There's also no benefit to waiting a long time after your workout to consuming protein, and in certain instances, having a protein shake soon after your workout can actually promote better muscle recovery and growth. For example, if you fasted before your workout, you want to take in protein as soon as you can when you're done. But regardless, having a protein shake after workout or eating 4 meals a day doesn't play as much of an impact as getting enough protein throughout the day to begin with. So be sure you get 0.73 grams of protein per pound of body weight every day. Now, one last thing I want to mention that may be preventing you from gaining muscle mass in your biceps or mass in general is because you're doing too much cardio. Keep in mind your bicep curling performance isn't going to be negatively impacted much by running, cycling, or stair climbing because they're all lower body forms of cardio, and some cardio in your weekly routine should not be a problem for bicep growth. However, remember that one of the major prerequisites for adding mass is to be in a calorie surplus. If you're doing too much cardio, that cardio is going to burn away too many calories, making it hard to stay in a calorie surplus. Too much cardio can potentially negate your calorie surplus and turn it into calorie maintenance or maybe even a deficit. You can, of course, balance out some cardio by adding more calories to your diet. So this is something that you should keep in mind. If you're currently doing a lot of cardio, make sure that your calories burnt balance out with your calories consumed. So That about wraps it up. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you're looking for a simplified approach to burning fat and building muscle that's streamlined and comes with a full workout plan, a video exercise library, a customizable diet plan, a recipe book, and an accountability coach to help guide you through the whole process, visit my website where you can get all of this for free just by putting your best foot forward and sticking to the plan. To find out more, just click the link in the description below, or you can visit my website directly at gravitytransformation.com. I'll see you guys soon.
Pump it.